let's do a roll call to establish quorum. So, Tom Howard,
Here.
Frank Visconti,
Here.
Susan Noyes, here. Joel Lee,
Here.
Erica Jacobson, here. And not in attendance are Marshall and Jean. I know Jean will not be here tonight, but we do have established quorum. So in the interest of time, I'm going to bypass public comment for right now because we have a reserve fund transfer that is part of your packet from the police department, and Patty is here to talk about it, and there is a situation ongoing, so she needs to skedaddle pretty quickly. So we're going to go right to this.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So good evening again, Patty Fisher, Deputy Chief with the Newbury Police Department, and Chief was unavailable to be here tonight, so he extends his apology. I'm here on behalf of the Police Department to respectfully request consideration for emergency reserve fund transfer in the amount of $10,779.82. In your packet, you should have a quote from TransCore Information Technologies. This reserve fund transfer request is for an unforeseen expense. Essentially, our cruisers, all of our cruisers patrols have what are called MDTs, mobile data terminals. They're our main communication method with the state, with dispatch. That's where we get all of our communication from. We get dispatched to calls. We have all cautions, all alerts. Any confidential information that we don't want put over the radio gets sent through these mobile data terminals. So probably back in the winter of 2021, we lost connectivity with our Verizon. They're the main subscriber for it, of our modems that run these MDTs inside of each cruiser. We had been working with Verizon, thinking that we were just going to have to replace the cards for the modems for each terminal. Our communication with them was going through our FY23 budget year and annual town meeting for anything to be put on the town meeting. We thought it was going to be an easy fix, just a replacement of them like it was in the past. Their new cards are not compatible with our system, and we have been working really hard with Verizon to come up with a workaround for it, and we have been unsuccessful, and Verizon has explained to us that they've kind of come to an end with us as well on how to service this. So we did a lot of research to figure out what an alternative is, and this is what we've come up with as the alternative, as these towers. And the good thing about these towers is they will also be compatible when we get body cameras, so which is a goal for the future. So that program in each cruiser will also be compatible with those programs and run our MDTs the way that we need them to. Essentially, that's a summary of our need.
Will Verizon still be the service provider?
I believe Verizon will still be the service provider, it's just these towers, but I could be wrong in that. I'd have to defer to the chief about that. He did all of the technology research on these.
And when you say towers, are these mobile mounted towers, like on the vehicles, or these are like repeaters?
So they're actually towers that will be secured in the rear of the trunk. We have them for other things. So it's actually a tower that has ports on it, and they'll run a direct connection to each MDT so that it'll be secure. Yep. We can't work off hotspots with that, so that's what these kind of will be in the place of, because we looked at whether or not hotspots would be a possibility or not.
And your MDTs are not bordering on obsolescence, right?
I didn't hear you what?
Your MDTs are not currently bordering on obsolescence, right? I mean, they're not end-of-lifing. Is that so the fact that your car doesn't work with Verizon is not indicative of the fact that your MDTs are almost done, or there's a...
No.
Okay.
The device itself, and we had TransCore, they looked at each MDT in each car to make sure that their system was compatible with the computers that were in each car, and they are, and so the computers are functioning. It's just the connectivity that seems to be the issue.
So I'm a little lost as to, Verizon's still going to be the subscriber, or more than likely the provider of service?
I'm not 100% positive about that. I can shoot Chief a text and find out if he can answer that for you.
How old are the terminals, the mobile data terminals?
The ones in each cruiser, each one has a different life. A part of our general expenses is replacement of those as they need be. But they last us a pretty good amount of time. But each one is at a different kind of lifespan. We rotate it through that way.
Okay.
I mean, it looks like they're talking about antennas, Ethernet cables, air links, Ethernet, Wi-Fi. So it doesn't sound to me like your Verizon would be impacted at all. That would be the service provider.
Any other questions?
And you've got a quantity of 7, so that covers all your vehicles.
And there's no other service provider that can, my guess is Verizon did some sort of protocol change, like HCOA to PPE or whatever, that has caused this not to work with the cards that your MDT provider is in. So I assume that Chief looked for an alternative. Oh, there he is.
I'm glad you're getting to the actual questions.
John, leave that door open.
John might as well.
Yep.
Is it yellow or something?
Yeah, it was me.
Sorry, late folks, I got about 3 minutes.
Do you plan to go somewhere?
I'm gonna talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
So, yes.
So, no, I just had, so, Verizon, I assume it's some kind of weird protocol change that Verizon did
Yes.
that makes it no longer talk adequately
There's
to
a
the
hop, there's
card.
an IP hop that's been introduced. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And no other provider is running the old protocol?
Well, we did a lot of research. Verizon's the best network.
Mhm.
They still are, as far as coverage and dependability.
Mhm.
The solution is, as bizarre as this sounds, there's still a Verizon wireless card
Yep,
incorporated in the Sierra modem,
okay,
and the modem compensates for that hop, so it makes it work.
yeah,
So that's what area departments are using. Took us a long time to get to that, but we got there.
yeah, that makes sense.
So does this happen with every PD?
I'm not really sure. Actually, what's kind of, the history of what we usually do is we just upgrade the air cards as they need to be upgraded. They get broken, they get obsolete. This last upgrade, this is when the problem showed up. It also coincides with area departments that are using the body cams, but it's self-corrected when they went to the body cams because they used this same modem. So they didn't have the problem. So what we're doing actually is we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, if you will. We're getting a dependable infrastructure for our MDTs, and we're also some forward thinking of what we want is body cams, and this puts that infrastructure in place.
If there's no other provider, I can't imagine there being a cheaper workaround for, or more reliable workaround.
It's the reliability that I have come to enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. And is it the same company that does your MDTs, or who's gonna service those towers? Like when those towers go down, then who's?
They're not actually towered, the devices that go in the cruisers,
Right.
modems, and the other thing that I liked is it's local, it's a Georgetown company.
Okay,
They are on the state bid, so the procurement's, smooth.
yeah,
Area departments say that they do a nice job, they're happy with their service.
but, so they'll service it?
They'll service them, the deal is for Sierra, yes.
Any idea what the lifespan is, Chief?
I do not. I'll let you know. I'm hoping it'll be good. Yeah, I mean, from what everything seems, it's kind of new. The technology's not new, but the device application's kind of new, if you will. I think Raleigh's been running it for a couple of years with the Sierras, but I really can't answer that. Actually, the way we use our systems, our MDTs, seems to be a little bit more robust in the sense that a lot of departments, at the end of their tour, they're taking their laptops out of the cruisers. They're using docking stations because they're using the tough books. We don't use the tough books. We can buy 4, and Sue can speak to this too, as the former IT person. We can buy 4 of the Lenovo ThinkPads in the time it takes to buy 1 tough book, and they last at least 2 applications in a cruiser. So and we leave them in the car. So the not having to transport them, dock them, undock them, dock them, undock them, move them, we're not gentle all the time, we try to be, but we're not, and things get banged around, that prolongs the life. So I think that that's going to help, to your point, that once they're in the car, they're permanently mounted, and they stay.
No more questions for me.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion?
Motion to approve the $10,779.82.
Yeah, it's, we do have an amount requested of $10,780 to make it a rounded number, so.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very
Opposed?
much. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is it coming out of free cash or where's it coming from?
Reserve fund.
Reserve fund. Yep. Extraordinary and unforeseen at the time.
And there's
the
still
annual-
140, there's
No,
a
don't
present
think
balance
we-
of 147.
Can we roll that under,
Exactly.
is there any room to roll under, I forget, one's ARPA?
ARPA, it could be an eligible ARPA expense.
Does it bump something else that's going to happen, or is there?
We have a couple of other ARPA requests, but I think at this point in time, we have probably around 300,000, don't quote me, left in ARPA funds, but this is absolutely eligible for reserve
Okay.
fund transfer funding, so it's kind of looking at this
But
market.
given the life of what it can do, I would think it would fall on that.
Yeah, it absolutely
If you
would.
can take the body cams on, I would assume that those are not, wouldn't they fall under the offer?
Yeah,
Body
If they
cams?
would, yeah, they would.
body cams would. This isn't purchasing body cams.
No, but this is making them work.
Right.
You can't
They
have
benefit.
a body cam without this, correct?
Correct. Correct.
In terms of our agenda, since we are under time constraints this evening due to our room, there are no members of the public here, so I want to make it clear to anybody watching on camera that we will entertain public comment, but there are no members of the public here tonight, so I don't expect anybody to make anything there. Marshall is not here. We do not have meeting minutes from the July 12th meeting. We will push that to an October meeting. Tracy, in terms of town administrative report, anything we should be aware of?
No, we're just working on closing out the books.
Yep.
Things, no deficits to report. That's all good news. Our estimates came right where they should.
Good.
For what our projections were. The state is implementing new guidelines as we budget for 2023. They're putting some stricter requirements on our budgeting practices in terms of revenue predictions. They want to make sure that we're very conservative. So what I had initially projected based on historical data and trends and such, we might have to pull those back a little bit and to be even more conservative. But we'll follow their guidelines. We always do.
No, any call for a special town meeting in October?
Not as of
Not as
right
of-
now,
Okay,
as we sit here right now.
all right. And so we think in the October would be a time that we would have closing out of
Yep.
everything,
With
and
all
then your
your
reports.
reports.
We'll do a full meeting in October, which would be, if we follow our schedule,
October 4th.
October 4th. Is where, yep, I looked it up last time I was doing this. Any items from anyone under old or new business? We haven't had the first DCC meeting yet,
Nope.
so there's no updates there, so I think we are good. Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. All those in favor?
Um,
Aye. Excellent. Thank you guys for coming out and doing this. And